hit this. I do.
This chick. She always tweaks when I start a video. Hi. She knows what we're doing. Hey there, I'm very glad to see you. I'm very glad that you're here. And this is just a little video of our book club retreat. This is our second annual book club retreat, and it was so much fun. One of our girls, her family, has a house in Delaware near Rehoboth Beach and let us use it, and that was so kind. And while we were on the book club retreat, we also had a book club during the weekend, and we read The Favorites by Lane Fargo. And my summary for the book will be at the end of the video.
It's upset.
We finally made it to the bookstore. These little pamphlets, I think they're so fun. And they have like the little story from where you got it from, putting at the bottom. Okay, this book cover is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Check with your mama game. Wait, what's I'm not gonna like it. Oh wait, I can't do that.
Why is there butter?
There's crack. A small scoop of peanut buttery sauce. Yeah, because then you use your right hand to like do the cutting. Yes.
We made it into bookstore number 2 of the weekend. She found her section.
So excited.
What would you call the event that's like going on today? Doggy Palooza? There are so many good boys and girls here. Pope Leo Mobile. There's a dock jump going on over there. This is so fun. There's just so many dogs. Praise God.
good on the other side. Ooh, that's cute. Those letters are on that page. Yeah, the letters are on
I don't want you to think that I was just like shoving the camera.
Ready? We have this juice action. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Every squad hustles got none of this.
Okay, so last night there was a tidal flooding, something, and we knew that that meant that the tide was going to be so high that by the morning there was going to be all brand new shells and rocks and sea glass, and that is why we're here. A mermaid purse. Okay, now for my summary of The Favorites by Lane Fargo. I read it on Kindle first, and then I switched to audiobook because I needed to read it faster, and also I needed to read it while driving a ton. I drive a lot for work, so I switched to the audiobook, and the audiobook was so fun because they had an entire cast for every single character, and there was a decent amount of characters in the book, and they all had very strong personalities, and one of them had a Russian accent, and one of them had a super flamboyant voice. And yeah, I super recommend the audiobook for sure. The style of the audiobook sort of reminds me of the casting style / script documentary style of Daisy Jones and the Six. I did not read that one on audiobook, but it has the same documentary style. I can't remember what rating I gave it. Give me 1 second. I never rated it, but I think looking back, I probably gave it a 4 or 5 stars. So I'm going to settle in the middle with 4.5. I think at the time I gave it a 5 stars. And then I was shocked because there was such mixed reviews at the book club retreat, and I thought that this was going to be like top book for everyone, super into it, and no, it was very all over the board. There were some 5 stars, 4 stars, there were some 2 stars, and I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't think we would be that torn about it. And I loved hearing everyone's opinions. And I don't know if this ever happens to you, but sometimes if I get done with a book and I'm like, oh my God, I loved it. And then I talk to everyone else and they point out all the flaws about it. And I'm like, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see that. Okay. And then I end up lowering my rating. And that happens a lot. And I think that's okay. But that happens a lot when you're in a book club, because all the people who found flaws or negatives about the book, you start to see it from their perspective. And there's a lot of rating changings during a book club. But I would still give this book 4 or 5 stars. I liked it a lot. I found it super, almost addictive. I found it unputdownable. I'll give you a summary. So it's ice dancing themed. That is the area that we're in. And it's this couple that has been a ice dancing pair and / together, boyfriend, girlfriend, since they were in their early teens. And they came from nothing. They both came from super dysfunctional, abusive families. And they found each other and are very attached to each other. And they're ice dancing and trying to make it to the Olympics. And the book starts when they're like in their early teens and then ends, I think, in their late 30s. So it follows their entire career. And it is packed with drama, okay? It is like this whole documentary and people talking about this couple, but then it swaps back and forth from documentary style to narrative style, from Kat, the female main character's point of view, and her male main character's name is Heath. And I don't think we ever see or hear anything from his POV until there's some bonus chapters that I'm not sure are in every version, but there are bonus chapters where he kind of like writes this mental diary to her in his head. So it's just kind of like stream of consciousness about her, but it's like after the book is over. So I think most of the time, if I'm remembering correctly, we only really hear from Katerina. And yeah, everyone in the whole documentary is pretty darn toxic. And I don't know if it's like that in real life in the professional sports competition scene, but yeah, there was just a lot of toxicity, a lot of drama, a lot of manipulation, a bit of backstabbing. And watching this couple, when they get into the legit competition scene, they meet up with this other dancing pair that's a sibling pair, and they kind of become whatever a throuple is, but for 4 people. And there's all these ties in all different directions, and I'm surprised I didn't get confused, to be quite honest, because when there's POV switching and when there's too many characters and when there's too many relationships, I get a bit confused, but I didn't. And so that is a plus for me in the pros column of this book. I believe some reasons that the gals in the book club didn't like it was because of all the drama and toxicity, and just like some of it was just unnecessary. And the female main character definitely just had judgment impairments, or just made some immature decisions, or where she was coming from was not always relatable. All the main characters were very flawed, and you kind of just wanted to shake them awake at some points and being like, bestie, it does not need to be like this, okay? And I could never really tell if I was rooting for them or not, or if I was just watching a car crash. I think that's kind of also what this book was going for, where it's just watching a car crash and you just can't stop watching. But for me, that was a check in my box, because that's what made it unputdownable for me. Let's see the rating on Goodreads. I usually will look up ratings on Goodreads to see if the general reading people think that a given book is a good book. And then I look at the rating and I'm like, womp womp, because it's brutal out there. It's brutal out there on the Goodreads. I would be willing to bet you that most books have a higher rating on Fable, because I feel like they're nicer on Fable than they are on Goodreads. And on Fable, it has 4.19 as compared to Goodreads that has 4.06. So that's not much of a difference, but that's kind of a trend that I notice a lot between Goodreads and Fable, is that Goodreads is where people go to complain, I'm pretty sure. And I mean, we've all done it. We've all done it. We've all just gotten clickety-clackety and written a bad review on Goodreads. Goodreads is where people go to throw tomatoes, I think. Oh, another thing is that learning about the world of ice dancing was so interesting to me. I don't know much about the Olympic scene. I don't know much about professional competitive sports in that way. I was like, oh, figure skating? But no, ice dancing is definitely, it's separate, it's different, it's a whole thing. And a fun thing we did on the book club retreat was we watched a ton of ice dancing videos from the Olympics on YouTube, like on the TV. And so we just had like this big watch party of all the best ice dancing routines from the past like 10 years. And it was so fun to talk about the book and also be able to picture it, of what the whole ice dance, like what a routine looks like. Because in the book they discussed, they kind of laid out a whole routine, and it helps if you watch videos of ice dancing on YouTube before watching the book, so that you can kind of understand, like, there's a move that they call the twizzles, and they kind of bring that move up a lot. I think that's another check in my pros column of why I liked it so much, was because I felt very immersed into this scene in this world that I knew nothing about. And I felt like I was there. I felt like I was an ice dancer. I felt like I was competing with them. And that was the reason why I had fun reading the book. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.